get in a question on education, and I'm afraid this is going to have to be our last question, gentlemen. The question is this: the U.S. spends more per capita than any other country on education, yet by every international measurement in math and science competence, from kindergarten through the 12th grade, we trail most of the countries of the world. The implications of this are clearly obvious. Some even say it poses a threat to our national security. Do you feel that way, and what do you intend to do about it? The question to Senator Obama first.
This probably has more to do with our economic future than anything. And that means it also has a national security implication, because there's never been a nation on earth that saw its economy decline and continued to maintain its primacy as a military power. So we've got to get our education system right. Now, typically what's happened is that there's been a debate between more money or reform. And I think we need both.
It's a civil rights issue of the 21st century. There's no doubt that we have achieved equal access to schools in America after a long and difficult and terrible struggle. But what is the advantage in a low-income area of sending a child to a failed school, and that being your only choice? So choice and competition amongst schools is one of the key elements that's already been proven in places like New Orleans and New York City and other places where we have charter schools.
Denver. So Mr. Klein and Dr. Rice are going to be discussing a report that they have authored, which has been published in March of this year by the Council on Foreign Relations. Now, among many things, this report notes that while the United States invests more in K-12 public education than many other developed countries, its students are woefully ill-prepared to compete globally. One tidbit, according to the results of the 2009 Program for International Student Assessment, a tool that measures performance of 15-year-olds in reading, math, and science every 3 years, United States students ranked 14th in reading, 25th in math, and 17th in science. The lack of preparedness poses threats on 5 national security fronts: our economic growth and competitiveness, our physical safety, intellectual property, U.S. global awareness, and U.S. unity and cohesion. Please join me in welcoming these panelists to discuss this disturbing and important report.
Considerable distance, and in some ways the reason is, and the other person who comes to mind is Mike Mullen, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. When he was asked, what's the greatest national security threat facing the United States, he didn't say Al-Qaeda, he didn't say a rising China, he didn't say Iran, he didn't say North Korea, he didn't say climate change. What he said was the deficit and the state of American society. And I think that's exactly right. And you can look at questions of the budget, you can look at questions of infrastructure, you can look at immigration policy, but above all, it's education policy, because this is the future. And we're not talking about our physical infrastructure, we're talking about our human infrastructure. And Joel is someone who has dedicated the most recent phase of his multi-phase career